An important visitor to the Eternal City, the citizens of Rome haven't seen a German king for 2 decades. But the guest from the north is by no means welcome. Because of his red beard, the Romans call him Barbarossa.
I'm not comfortable among these Romans. This isn't what cheering looks like. What are you doing in Italy anyway?
An empire without Italy? No, Henry, no emperor without Rome.
The newly crowned emperor is accompanied by his cousin, Henry the Lion, Duke of Saxony from the Welf dynasty. Henry sees himself as an equal to Barbarossa.
What about you, Henry?
Should I fall to my knees before my cousin?
Not before your cousin, before your emperor.
But Barbarossa owes his elevation to dukes like Henry. They have the right to elect the German king. But the imperial crown puts him above all of them. The emperor is crowned by the Pope, and he wants to be at least his equal.
Rolando Bandinelli has arrived. He's an emissary of the Bishop of Rome, our Pope.
Gaudemus. In Erinnerung an die Vorteile.
I received my imperial honor as a fief bestowed by the Pope.
Who else would bestow the crown upon the emperor, if not the Pope?
Silence this Roman whore.
Wait.
Emperor Frederick in no way sees himself as ruler by the grace of the Pope.
Tell your lord that we have received the crown of our empire from God, and not from his insolent servant. The empire is sacred. Sacrum imperium. Let him go.
The ruler of an empire that's holy doesn't need the blessing of the Roman Pope. Not least in Rome. The proud Romans are particularly self-confident at this time, and an emperor who really wants to rule uncontested needs to court their favor. But the people of the Eternal City rebel. They haven't been asked about who should be emperor. The Pope had decided alone, possibly influenced by Frederick's magnificent gifts.
Shields to the emperor!
Barbarossa and his entourage are surprised by the anger of the Romans. They're in danger.
Stop!
Henry the Lion shows his control of the situation.
I thank you, cousin, for your courage and loyalty.
Everything for the emperor and his realm.
The Lion proved worthy of his name. He was to not let Barbarossa forget it. The king returns home. He brings peace to a land inhabited by 6 million people after decades of upheaval. 90% of his German subjects are peasants living in the most basic conditions. Kissing the hem of the king's garment is meant to bring good luck. Barbarossa is also a nomadic king, moving from palace to palace like his predecessors. Würzburg in 1156. An event of European importance enthralls the bishop's seat on the River Main for a few days. 34-year-old Frederick Barbarossa is getting married. His bride is 16-year-old Beatrice of Burgundy. It's an international dream wedding. The minstrels of the realm vie to outdo each other in praising the beauty of the young noblewoman, as witnesses to the events reported. He goes to Italy for a second time in 1158. A chronicler said of his entourage, "The number of troops was so large that even several roads were barely able to hold them all, a horde of young men who confronted the vicissitudes of war without fear." The intended destination of this march is the center of the resistance, Milan. The city's consul has called a citizens' assembly to answer the impending threat.
You brave citizens of Milan, do you want to be obedient to the arrogant Germans and be subject to their laws? Do you really want to suffer this in your lifetimes? Let us die like men before we suffer the Germans' arrogance and tyranny. What man could bear the arrogance and conceit of the Germans?
The arrival of the German knights creates a sense of unity in Italy. But in light of German superiority, most northern Italian cities open their gates and submit. Only the people of Milan are resolute in standing up to the German emperor. The siege of Milan goes on for months. After heavy fighting, the city in Lombardy is finally forced to surrender unconditionally. One of the most flourishing cities of the West is burned to the ground. The citizens of Milan can save only their lives and whatever they can carry. At the height of his power, Frederick shows no mercy.
These people of Milan challenged their emperor. I was forced to punish them for that. They have no one but themselves to blame for this fate.
But it is a dubious victory. The German army rampage gives birth to the phrase furor teutonicus, not least because the destruction is coupled with an historic theft.
What's in there?
The mortal remains of the three kings.
Do you want to take them from the people of Milan?
The Holy Empire needs holy kings.
Goslar, the silver. Forever.
The lion stands up to Barbarossa. When the emperor asks him to come with him to Italy to put down rebellions in Lombardy, the lion makes demands. The silver mines of Goslar.
I ask you, as a cousin, friend, and fellow fighter, follow your emperor to Italy. It won't be at your expense, but you won't get Goslar.
Without the silver mines in Goslar, the emperor wouldn't have any funds himself.
In that case, may God be with you, cousin. I won't.
Are you so certain of your power, Duke of Saxony? The empire has made you great, but it can crush you again too.
Henry refuses to participate in the military campaign. He's not violating any law in doing so, but he is still snubbing the emperor. An empire stretching from the Baltic across the Alps to the Mediterranean can only function if Barbarossa manages to incorporate the northern Italian territories in the long term. And he needs the wealth of the Italian cities. But the Lombards don't want to be part of an empire ruled by Germans, nor be its paymaster. Just a few years after Milan's destruction, its citizens have returned to their city and rebuilt it. Lombard troops face Barbarossa near Legnano. Open fighting breaks out between the free citizens and the imperial forces in May 1176.
Battle formation. Close the ranks.
The Lombards aren't just fielding a force twice the size of the imperial army, 16,000 against 8. They're also fighting for their freedom. At stake is how far the German king can actually extend his power as the Holy Roman Emperor. Who will set limits to a claim that seemingly knows no limits? So when Barbarossa's banner falls, he hasn't just lost a battle. It's the first time national sentiment has developed south of the Alps, an Italian one, in opposition to the Germans. And their rulers are torn between the duties of a German king and the claims of a Roman emperor. Barbarossa has made enemies, both in German territories and in Italy. His dream of a unified Holy Empire, has it failed? Since Henry the Lion refused to support Barbarossa in Italy, he is now held to account. At the imperial diet in Erfurt, he tries to assuage the emperor through an act of submission.
Forgive me, my emperor.
Your remorse comes too late, my lord.
Zu spät.
You're punishing me because I didn't follow you to Italy.
You weren't required to join. You said so yourself.
And yet, you're taking me down because of it.
It's about the honor of the empire. The verdict stands.
Of course, it is a verdict that he has also reached at the behest of the German dukes who felt Henry the Lion had become too powerful. The fall of the Duke of Saxony is sealed with the Gelnhausen document. As a result of clear insurgency, Henry of Braunschweig is found guilty of insubordination. He will be stripped of all the fiefs he received from the empire by the unanimous verdict of the dukes. The Lion is exiled to England. He plays no further significant role in German history. Henry is buried along with his wife Matilda in Braunschweig Cathedral, which he paid for himself. But his son will achieve what the Lion did not. At the start of the 13th century, he, Otto IV, will be the only member of the House of Welf to be crowned Holy Roman Emperor. But even then, he won't recover the territories his father lost. Barbarossa distributes them among the other dukes in a way that ensures none of them will ever again become as powerful as the Lion.
You, Otto of Wittelsbach, shall have Bavaria. You, Philip of Heinsberg, Archbishop of Cologne, shall have Westphalia.
Erhältst Westfalen. Und du,
And you, Bernhard of Anhalt, shall rule in Engern from now on.
sollst fortan in Engern regieren.
But the fact that Barbarossa bestows these territories on the German rulers in the first place shows that he still needs their support. Whitsun, 1184. Emperor Frederick is hosting an enormous meeting of the Imperial Diet near Mainz. More than 70,000 participants are expected. Dukes, princes, knights, bishops and their entourages, famous poets and musicians. It was a superlative event, of which the Saxon World Chronicle said, "It was the biggest celebration ever to have taken place in the German lands." The sheer size and splendor of the Diet of Mainz makes it a social highlight aimed at distracting attention from the defeat in Italy. Barbarossa wants to demonstrate that the empire is wherever he is, and that he, as emperor, is preeminent amongst Europe's rulers. 20,000 nobles are in attendance. Barbarossa wants to grant them new privileges and bind them closer to him. Guarantors of his power, ready to defend him, loyal and dependable against enemies within and without. Bravery is rewarded with applause, as is a successful hit. The lances are blunted, so the colourful spectacle isn't meant to cause too much injury. But many suffer injuries to more than just their pride. The Diet of Mainz is also intended to unite the emperor's adversaries under the empire's colours. But the dukes are still jealous of their autonomy. They prefer to see the emperor as a first among equals, rather than an august ruler. Conferring knighthoods is a highlight of the Diet. A ceremonial oath turns thousands of honourable young men into knights, including Barbarossa's sons.
We swear to protect the Holy Church and always to be loyal to the Emperor of the Holy Empire, our supreme liege lord. We swear to protect widows and orphans and to honor women, so help us God.
In the name of God, Saint Michael and Saint George, you are now knights. Be brave, stalwart and loyal. In God's honour and the Empire's defence, for the protection of the weak and in resistance to the strong. Bear this blow and henceforth no other.
By knighting his two sons, Frederick hopes to establish who will take over from him. Henry, the eldest on the left here, is to be the next Roman German king and emperor. Even though the dukes elect the king, the emperor still wants to get a king from his own house on the throne. He wants the world to see that the House of Hohenstaufen is destined to rule. At the Diet of Mainz, the medieval dream of empire seems reborn. But dark clouds are gathering. At twilight on Holy Whitsun, a strong wind came from the west and caused many buildings to collapse. What the divine power had signalled was not taken as a good sign. These are the words of the chronicler Otto of Sankt Blasien. A devastating storm causes the backdrops of the Diet to collapse. Many are killed or injured. A bad omen, say many. And indeed, it's the beginning of the end. Aged 67, Barbarossa sets off on a crusade to Jerusalem, where the Christian West and Islam both have their sacred sites, although the city is under Muslim rule. But the emperor will never get there. He drowns in a river in the Middle East and never reaches the Holy Land at all.